Hello, everyone. Welcome to a first episode of Cash, Keys, and Confessions podcast. Guys, I have no idea what actually will happen on this podcast because we don't have anything scripted. It's not HGTV show, and we have real stories. We talk about real estate, real cash, and real confessions. And I can promise you, we can have something crazy like grandma bought a strip mall instead of a little condo, or the cat became a beneficiary of entire multi-million dollar estate. So that's that. Without further ado, let me welcome my first guest, who just happened to be my oldest daughter, who is a real estate broker. She's well achieved in her professional field. Few years ago, she was named the best rookie of the year, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
The rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. You see, that's how it goes. That's how, uncensored and unscripted stuff goes. Also, she is a mom of two beautiful kids that happen to be my grandkids. She is super crafty and she's just an amazing woman. And speaking of earnings, because again, there is a stigma that realtors are just servers and most of them are not making any money. So my daughter is a proof that you can be a great realtor, you can be a great investor, because I didn't tell her she's also a real estate investor. And you can have money and just be a great person. So welcome, Arina Greager.
Thank you. I am so excited. I can't wait to chat and see what you have in store for us and kind of get into some nitty-gritty and funny stuff. So I'm very excited to have this conversation.
Okay, listen, let's start from the beginning. How the hell in the world you, my child, who graduated from college with 2 degrees, psychology and business, ended up in real estate?
Well, it kind of, life takes you on a journey, and I think that there are no mistakes. You end up in the places you're supposed to be. And I, graduated from the University of Utah. I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. Yes, I graduated and I had these big dreams, but I fell into the mortgage life. I was a loan officer for a couple of years, and that was traumatic for me. So the next move was just to take a step over and move into real estate. So that's how I ended up being an agent. But having that loan officer background has helped me tremendously in being able to speak to the loan officers I work with and also communicate that, not loan terms or anything, and we're not doing illegal stuff, but definitely just make them understand a little bit better what a loan process looks like.
So you've been in real estate business for a while. We're going how many years?
I got licensed. I started doing loans in 2015. I got licensed as an agent in 2017. So it's been a minute. It's definitely
Exactly. And in this short or long minute, it depends how we look at it, you had quite few crazy situations, quite few crazy clients, and on the other hand, lots of great clients who are your repeating clients and who really appreciate you. But because our podcast is a little bit controversial, we want to concentrate more on crazy situations, because I guess that's what usually never in headlines, of course, if it's not our media. But reality is, when you talk about real estate investing or realtors, everything is honky-dory. So, but reality is way different. So I just want to hear juicy stories.
I would say first and foremost, when I got it, we all evolve, and I'm definitely a much different person than I was when I started. When I started, I was so new and I was so afraid of not being liked. That was, I just wanted people to like me, to see my worth, to want to work with me because I wanted to give people my all, and yes, that's a great customer service piece to have. However, very quickly, this wasn't even a slow process. People took advantage of that left and right. And I mean, I had clients that would call me at 11 o'clock at night, and I started real estate with like breastfeeding a child, taking my exams, and cooking dinner. Like, I wasn't just, I'm your real estate agent 24/7. I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I need my own spiritual mental health too. So that was what quickly changed for me as I stopped wanting people to like me and I started showing up as, this is what I offer and I am passionate about helping people. But if you don't want to be helped, there's nothing I could do. There's those people, I've had clients that are like, no, this isn't right. I had one young woman who nothing was right for her, and that's okay. That's okay, right? But she would write these emails in the middle of the night, and then when I didn't respond at 2 a.m, it was like, you don't care about my feelings. And I'm like, whoa, we're going into a totally, like, my psychology background helped me a lot with that, but we went into a totally different place of where I wasn't her agent anymore. I was her pissing post. Okay, so that was a huge wake-up call for me, because up until then, if she told me I need to talk to you at 2 a.m, I would probably set my alarm. I know that's being dramatic, but I would, make sure that I was available and there for people. And it drains you so quickly. So to anybody that is going into this business, you have to set boundaries. And you told me that from day one. You have to have boundaries. Your boundaries are a little more rigid than my boundaries. Mine are a little more fluid, and I'm still a people pleaser. And I know that about myself, but I am more selective about which people I choose to interact with and engage with. And the most liberating thing that ever happened to me in my career was when I said, I don't want to work with you. I am not the agent for you, and you're not the client for me. That was the most liberating thing that's ever happened to me. So I've taken that knowledge over all those years, and I want to be friends with my clients. I mean, I know I'm there to do a service and it's a business, but to me, connection is what makes it such a special experience. That's my soul. That's what feeds me, is connection with people. So yeah, I want to hear about your grandma that got you that wool sweater that's itching you from, all over your body, but you love Nana. And, like, I want to take that energy on. I don't want to take on the, like, nothing is good enough, it's just drama. Like, we still have to keep our mental health in check and our happiness at the forefront so we could do a good job. So
That's absolutely correct. And you know what? I'm really proud of you for growing a pair. Honestly, there is nothing better expression. Even though we're two women, but still,
yes, yes.
to grow, yes, to grow a pair and be able to say exactly what you think and not to be afraid to say it, and not do mental midget gymnastics when you are really just talking to yourself. And it would be my next question, because this is part of confession, when we say something or we do not say something. And you had quite few moments like this, but you had clients when you would be bitching, like really bitching or crying to me or Margarita. And for people who don't know, I have another daughter, and her name is Margarita, and she is also in real estate. But let's talk about this part, because this part is really juicy and very important for people who actually watch or listen our podcast?
Yeah, I think that this is the problem with real estate, and I'm just going to say it. We are dealing with humans. We're still all human, right? And for me, I've always said, like when working with other agents, let's say I'm the buying agent, they're the listing agent. My issue is people have such a hard time keeping their emotions in check because they allow their clients to run their emotions up. And in turn, now they're going to try to run my emotions up because everything needs to, there's a lot of emotion and a lot of immaturity. Even you can have people that are like, I've been in real estate for 20 years. I'm like, you can't handle hearing that you need an extension, like, let alone anything else. And I don't mean to sound like a bitch about it, but it's true. Like, what we as agents, I've met so many agents, one recently who was like, well, I'm doing this for my client. And I'm like, no, you're creating friction is not going to help your client. And you getting so up in arms is not going to help your client. And I think that people right now that might be listening to it and they're like, but what about, our clients there, we need to keep their emotion in check, and that is our job. Yes, we do the paperwork, but so can a TC technically do it, right?
Exactly.
Our job comes to we need more patience. We need more, let's work together, a willingness to kind of blend, even if you are the listing agent and I'm the buying agent, because I do residential real estate. So maybe this looks different in commercial or investment or things like that. I mostly deal with first-time home buyers. So the emotion there is 10 times because they've never been through it. It's my job to make them feel safe. And that's the responsibility I take on myself. I want my clients to feel safe and know that, yes, Sally, Joe, and Eric over here can all do the same paperwork. We can all do the same paperwork. It's what is the extra? What else do you get? And it's not how much can I squeeze out of my agent? It's not that. It's knowing that you are well taken care of. It's like a security blanket. You just feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what happens, no matter the bad news, the good news, something sprung a leak right before we closed and now the basement's flooded. Well, we got this. Nobody died. This is not the end of the world. We'll get it figured out.
That's so true. And guys, by the way, Arina mentioned extension, meaning it's not a hair extension. It's when I'm just explaining because you never know who listens to podcasts or watch YouTube videos. And by the way, guys, if you will get on YouTube and you will stumble upon my YouTube channel and this podcast, please like and subscribe and listen and watch because you will learn so much. But going back to extension, so it's not hair extensions, it's extension on the real estate contract. So now I have another question because like a couple of days ago, you told me quite interesting story on your new listing, which is short sale. And now let's talk about investors because you started getting text messages. Now let's look on the other side because usually investors are really bitching about realtors and saying they're stupid, they're only 1% of realtors who are really unicorn realtors. And for me, I've been on both sides and you are on both sides because you guys have real estate and you're dealing with clients who are actually vacationing in your short-term rentals. But now let's talk about investors because I absolutely love it. Let's talk about text messages and phone calls.
Well, we all know, thank you to Pace and his online teachings. A lot of people are jumping into this, which can anybody do this? Absolutely. But they're doing the seller financing, the creative financing kind of stuff. They want to start investing. They're like, think that they're being these sharks in the water, except they're being so lazy about it that you're not a shark. We won't even give you the time of day. And then you're going to come and say, oh, agents suck. Nobody ever responds. I see it in our Facebook group, on Pace's Facebook group of What did I do wrong? Why did this agent not respond? You don't want to have a human connection. I'm nobody to you, which is fine. I know there's a lot of us. I don't need to be some special, but the approach is like, I had a guy, he's like, I'm so and so, I would like more info on this house. Perfect. I would love to give you more information, but I am not just gonna, who are you? What do you need? Are you driving by my sign, or are you like, why? Right. And I will give him this. He did call me. So a lot of them don't even call, right? They're just trying to go through their list quick because 90% of people don't like making the phone calls. So they try to rip it off like a Band-Aid. We're just going to down the line and just hope that somebody somewhere gets us something. But when you text me, you got anything else? No, I don't even, it makes me not want to talk to you because I feel like I'm talking to some teenager like that. No offense to teenagers, I'm sorry, but I feel like I'm just speaking to somebody that is not being professional. And I'm all about being relaxed. I want to be friends. But there's got to be the introduction, your first impression, to just slang like, well, what else you got for me? I don't have anything for you. And I would not work with somebody like that.
Yeah, guys, and again, for the reference, Arina is actually in our Gator community, and for people who have no idea who Gators are, we provide.
Yes, and who paces.
Yes, and who paces, yeah. So for people who have no idea, Pace Morby, who has an amazing community, and we have amazing people, but on the other hand, we have other people. And again, this is part of a very real, candid conversation and confessions. So who doesn't like it? Too bad, so sad. You guys, we're not tailoring to you. We're just saying the truth right here, right now. Listen, now, let's talk about another part. How a real estate, literally you're in real estate business, how it really affects your personal life, because you have two kids, your own two kids. Also, Paul and you guys have four other kids who are from previous marriage, and these kids are at your house. So total, every 2 weeks, you have between 4 and 6 kids. Mm-hmm. And also, your awesome husband owns a mortgage company, and he works at home. So you guys have whole 9 yards.
Yes. And I mean, that is like right now he just walked in because I think we have a client together that he probably needs an addendum for or something. And that's awesome, right? He comes up, hey, let's get this addendum, let's get it done. We work together. We work really well together as well. And a lot of that comes from me understanding the loan side because I did it. But personal life is so important, and it took me such a long time to realize that I don't have to answer my phone when I'm breastfeeding. You know what I mean? Like, and I know I keep bringing that up, but I think that is like a huge thing in motherhood, especially with new babies. We try to do it all because we have the hands. You only need one hand to do this. You could answer the phone or pop in an AirPod and go, but it really affects you when you take on those people's energy. Even if it's good energy, sometimes you just need to cleanse yourself of like all of these things that are kind of coming at you, and just be a mom, just be reading a book, just be for just a second. I'm not saying like ignore your clients. And I know there is like fires all the time in our business, but that's the thing, is everything just needs to be so urgent. We've gotten so used to that instant gratification and that instant results in everything we do. I just sent you a DocuSign, sign it right now. Like it's in your inbox, right? So even, yes, it's great and it's made our business easier, but at the same time, the expectation is just do, you work for me, do it now. And I don't even mean my clients say you work for me. It's like almost like other agents can make you feel that way, or, an appraiser can't get in a house. And yes, you need to be available for that. So it's a very kind of weird balancing act of, I want to be there, but I don't want my time. For me personally, I know agents that will work from sun up to sundown. They don't care how they have families. I don't know. That's not my life. That's not my path. And that's not my journey, which is okay. But for us, Paul does really well understanding when I need to be an agent and when I need to be a mother. So I am very, very fortunate in the fact that I do have that help. But it's one of those things that you really do have to structure and be like, okay, I'm going to make my calls here, or I'm going to do this paperwork here. I mean, I'm watching Paw Patrol and I'm writing addendums. There we go.
It's so true. It's so true, because how many times your kids being babies, being on your appointments and inspections and showings and stuff like that. So kids literally become part of your business, your mutual business, because again, you and Paul, you guys work together and kids are right there. So they're participating in everything, and it becomes very interesting synergy.
Well, I actually just remembered a story. Speaking of stories, I was at your house, which we live about 4.5 hours away from each other. I was visiting you. Cooper, I remember he was still in his little rear-facing car seat. He was a little tiny guy. And do you remember I had a client who had pulled out of 2 previous houses, and this was her third, that she wanted to go look at it again. We've already saw it. No. This was we didn't see it. It was a new listing she wanted to go see right away, but I obviously wasn't in town. And it was like, she gave me like 5 hours notice. And I packed up myself and my child, my little tiny infant child, and I drove the 4.5 hours up north, and I showed that house at 9:30 at night with a baby on my hip. And there wasn't even, not that I have to be careful, right? Not that there wasn't any, like I should have had like attaboy, but it was just like so expected. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe I'm the fool to think that, why shouldn't they expect it, right? Maybe that's just what it is. And I'm thinking that we have some humanity and we have some understanding that, and it was also like a Sunday too, because I remember I was staying till Sunday. It was a Sunday, but that's on me too, because I could have very well said, you know what, I'm very sorry. But that fear, right? That fear that is bred in this real estate world of people taking your clients, or they're going somewhere else, or I just had that happen with another client, right?
That's another story.
I text her because I saw, she canceled her buyer broker or her exclusive right to sell with me. I was like, hey, because I saw it was right up, the house was listed again 3 days later. And I was like, what could I have done? I really want to learn. Like, I'm not, I didn't come off like, I'm so mad at you. How could you do this? Like, I did the door knocking. I emailed all the agents I could think of that could potentially be interested in this. We've talked about it. We talked about maybe some creative finance, and it just wasn't moving. The house wasn't moving because it was overpriced. And sometimes when people get a number in their head, we can't deviate from that, right?
Yep.
Which they ended up selling that house for the price I told her to list it at, just for the record. But I text her and I said, hey, what could I have done differently? What, like, I want to improve for my next client. I want to make sure I'm doing it all. And her only response was, you were absolutely amazing to work with. That at the end of the day, you're like, I'm still scratching my head on that. Like, what?
Exactly. Because you and I will both have stories. I have my 7 years of realtor experience, and we can exchange all the stories right and left, because it's so true. So guys, you know what I want to say, my 2 cents into this. When you work with someone, and it doesn't matter if you're just buying a house for yourself or you're an investor and you're working with realtors, Just remember, it's not a transaction, and realtors are not your servants. Like, really, we all in relationships, and it's like marriage. You want to have good marriage, and when you end up in relationship with any person, it's like marriage. You want to have good relationships because it's long lasting, it's not transactional. But we know, again, realtors and investors and just simply clients who are buying houses for themselves, it's like more transaction, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, and next. But that's the value, what we place actually on ourselves when we act like this, not on another person, because you know about karma, and she's a bitch. What comes around goes around, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I never go like, my mindset and the like ideology I live with is not like, this will come back to them. It's, I wasn't meant to be there for a reason. Whether it's maybe I missed something bad happening from not driving out there that one extra time for whatever. Like, I truly believe that everything happens as it should. So even in the times that it sucks and you've put in so much time and energy and like I've learned, and I've had to learn to disassociate from that, to step back from that and release attachment to it. Otherwise, I think that I would go crazy. So
yeah, it's very interesting. Arina, I have last question for you, and this question is your word of wisdom for not just people in real estate, not just for investors. Like, we are all in real estate, and this podcast is actually about real estate and life. What is your word of wisdom? What you learn and what you want other people to know and maybe process? And it could be God, it could be someone else. So I'm just giving it to you.
I would definitely, the first thing that I like is just jumping out of me, and it is so cliche, and I don't even care because I truly live by this, or I try to as much as I possibly can, is just to be kind. And remember that relationships will get you so much further than the transactions and the money, right? Your relationships will bring you more money. So prioritize that instead of like making money, which I know is so, like, real estate is definitely a business you go into to make money. I didn't do that. I just kind of fell into it, and I fell for the happiness that my clients truly got from getting their first home, because it is such a special and could be a very spiritual experience. But kindness it costs you nothing to be kind. Okay. So whether it's another real estate agent, or a buyer that maybe you're not gelling with, or whoever it may be, a lender that you just want to scream at because how come they didn't catch this condition 3 weeks ago and we're only finding out about it now? Like, take a deep breath and try to prioritize problem solving instead of just blaming. That's my biggest thing, is just be kind and try to be helpful. Like, yes, somebody's at fault, and that's fine. And I know we're all in this justice. Like, I need them to know they messed up. No, like, we can all, that's not going to yield the result you're looking for. Let's all work together. Let's all be kind to each other. And once that synergy starts to flow and it's really like gets into a good groove, I really think that people will see more success.
So true. So guys, kindness, just put the word on a little piece of paper and just keep it with you. Just hold it, because it makes so much sense, and it's very deep. So Arina, thank you so much for being my first guest, being an awesome guest. And for the rest of you guys, also, Arina is actually doing spiritual readings. That's her gift.
Yes,
gift.
I do that.
Yeah, I think it's,
I
but
crochet, I make sourdough, and I do
exactly,
spiritual readings.
exactly. So to find her, and it doesn't matter if you want to buy a house, sell the house, for her professional services, which are services and real estate. Also, like I said, she does spiritual reading, and she can do the spiritual reading about
Yeah.
real estate. I will put all your information below this podcast. So you guys will be able to find her, connect with her, and connect with me, and just connect with people in our community and not in our community. Just be kind. I love you all, guys, and I have no idea what will be in our next episode. But I will see you in episode number 2.